Okay, we're going to go over technological, social, emotional stalking. Now, this has to do absolutely with gang stalking and the networking of gang stalking. If anybody's familiar with the work I've been doing recently, you know I've been speaking about color coding, psychological harassment that's embedded through the color coding. So not just people following you wearing red and black, but specific people picked to mimic you know, things about yourself, people you know, situations you've dealt with, places you go, and they will pick people based on what they specifically look like or based on how they're acting. So you have gang stalking, group stalking, and that itself networks through a bunch of different associations, whether it be neighborhood watch groups, shop watch groups. They have the people on the street level, like, you know, so-and-so handlers who may even just pay a homeless person some money just to wear a certain color, or pay people to stand on a corner and do street theater. But a lot of people who aren't familiar with gang stalking don't know that there's specific people picked just because of how they look. And the people who go through gang stalking oftentimes try to explain this. It's called the mimic effect. But I can be getting gang stalked in one area by certain people, and they may pick certain people because of the way they, you know, their hair color or the way they look or how they dress. Then I leave and go to a whole nother area that has nothing to do with the people in one area. The gang stalking network will network through that area and find people who perhaps look just like the people in the first area. So people will be out hanging out. They'll get information sent to their, you know, through the cell phone apps, the Facebook, what have you not, their neighborhood watch group, different things. They'll think, oh, you know, in their mind, they're thinking they're participating in this for one reason, or perhaps they're participating in it. Maybe they know they are participating in gang stalking, and they're not really sure. The only reason they're being picked is just because of their physical appearance, just because of how they look. Not their educational qualifications, not anything like that. But that should not be surprising, because people know gang stalking is nothing more than psychological harassment anyway. Physical too, to some extent, because you have covert drugging and electronic weapons, but that's all gang stalking is. It is psychological harassment, social types of harassment. That's all gang stalking really is. So if you're somebody who's being gang stalked, you're going to have like numerous people, unlimited amounts of people participating in things like brightening, color coding, wearing certain color shirts, creating noise campaigns, yelling purposefully at certain times, slamming doors at certain times, whether it's the area you live at or you can be outside, you know, shopping. Wherever you go, it's following you. So you have all this going on. Random people, brightening, color coding. But then within all of that, there's psychological orchestrations that are going on. So this is happening. This is always going on with me. Like, if I go out and I go talking to somebody and I meet them, say we talk on the phone a few times and we're hanging out, sooner or later, like within like hours usually, that person will be asked to participate in the gang stalking, if they're not already. It will be networked to them, maybe through their family, through the neighborhood watch group in the area, or through their work group, or it will be presented to them in some sort of way for them to participate. Now, they will look a certain way. Then, so I'm talking to them, I know them, now they're participating in the gang stalking. Then other people who look just like that person will be contacted and asked to participate in the gang stalking. Now the first person doesn't need to know anything about what's going on whatsoever. They know they're participating in the little roles they're playing. They got the GPS Google map. They're told periodically where to go, where to drive by. You know, they'll say, hey, they'll be shown, drive to this location, and they cross the intersection. Well, I'm standing out there. So yeah, they're going by to participate in the gang stalking assignment, then a detail of that is to wear a red shirt. So that's gang stalking, right? Now this person will be asked, I mean, not this, now this other person will be asked to do the same thing, only because they looked like the first person that I know. You know, it usually works, see, I'm a man, so it usually works between men and women. They hire women, the guy's talking to a girl, they'll hire the woman to do it, or they'll hire women who look like that woman. So that person's gang stalking me. Now there's other people who may look like that person who are, oh, they will look like that person, they're being contacted, they're participating in the gang stalking assignments only based on what they look like. Only based on what they look like. Now, these are small psychological operations. Okay, so you can have, then that can multiply. Then you can have 4 or 5 people who look like that one person. So wherever I go, if the same person who I originally know isn't doing the assignments, now there's 4 or 5 other women who look like that person. That's what people who are going through gang stalking, when they talk about the mimic effect, that's exactly what they're speaking about. Now, let me break this down a little bit further. So, if a man is being gang stalked and he goes to a woman, and they're paying the woman to participate in the gang stalking, it's being networked to her to do these little assignments, they'll add even a further psychological connotation onto it, where they'll tell the woman, drive in a car by the guy. Follow the guy, doing your gang stalking assignments in the car with another guy, only to perpetuate some sort of psychological push. Like saying, hey, this is the woman you were talking to, now she's gang stalking you in a car with another guy, but guess what? Now all the other women who looked like that woman who's participating in the gang stalking assignments, now it's being networked to them for the same effect, for them to drive around in a car with another guy. These are the types of things that happen to people who are getting gang stalked. So not only do you have and everybody's wearing black and red. Everybody's wearing black and red, or if you're somebody else and there's another form of color coding they're using, it'll be different colors. But it's the same concept. So now, and then simultaneously, all the brightening still going on. All the other people who are out walking around doing their own thing are all participating in the color coding. Nothing stopped. You still have a whole network of people who you don't know, who don't know you, who probably don't even know what gang stalking is, who have been financed and networked to participate in it. But then you have that one psychological operation within all of this going on. You can have 5 simultaneous things like that going on within gang stalking. The scenario I just gave about the one woman you go to, then they have the woman who look like her, she'll be participating, they'll all be participating. You can have multiple scenarios like that going on. You can have, there can be 2 different women who you go to. Say that's just one woman, and then they have 5 other women to mimic her. Then if I go to another woman and speak with her, then they will set up the same goddamn scenario. Excuse my language. Same scenario. Multiple operations. It gets deep. It gets deep. Okay, now going back to what I originally said, the first woman, not only will they want her to drive in the car, and this is an analogy. Not everybody who goes through gang stalking goes through this exact same scenario, but I've talked to a lot of different guys, and this seems to be a common theme within gang stalking because it's attached to emotional connotation. How do you really get to somebody and fuck with them? Well, you get to the things that they feel emotionally the most close to. So that's the perfect scenario for psychological harassment, which that's all gang stalking is. So now they get the original woman to drive in the car with another guy, and now they place both of them are wearing the same colors and all this stuff, and they're probably being followed behind them by people who who are wearing black and red. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, so now the goal is they will try to get the woman in the car to look at the man while she's driving in the car with the other guy. So wherever you go, this is going on 24/7. You're saying, damn, I'm being gang stalked. Well, I want to go over here and do something. No. All this stuff is going to continue. You're going to be stalked by a psychological. Not only are you getting gang stalked by permanent stalkers, now you're being stalked by psychological stalking operations.